welcome to another reading vlog, but this one's kind of themed because I'm going to be reading 2 books, very anticipated, and seeing if I can predict if I'm going to rate them 5 stars. So, for context, Red Rising started the series this year. I have rated every single book up to this one 5 stars. So, is this one going to be a 5 star? I would say there's a high chance this will be 5 stars. And then Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I have read every single Sally Rooney book up until this one because I read them all in 2022. It's not super up in the air considering I love her writing no matter what. I usually love her stories and how interesting and different. Anyways, we'll see how this goes. Pages into Morningstar and it's really good so far, but probably 5 times more violent and gory than the first 2 books. So that's been a little bit rough to read so far. Honestly, that's genuinely the only thing I can say for an update right now because all that has been like torture and physical harm. Like it's just been really, really rough, but not story-wise, just scene-wise, I guess. Or it's not that the story's bad and I'm not enjoying it. It's just been hard to read because it's been kind of disgusting. So that's the only issue I'm having so far. Otherwise, it's really good. I love Darrow, the main character, which is so funny because I feel like a lot of times when I talk about books, I'm like, I can be so general. I'll be like, oh, I love these characters. I cannot say that. I love Darrow and some other characters, but that's all I can say also because it's a 3rd book in a series. So that's my only update. It's a couple days later. I have not gotten any further into Morningstar because I thought that I would be able to listen to it, but I genuinely don't think my brain can like keep up with the audiobook. The world building does not stick as much in my head if I'm not reading it physically. It sounds vague, but I swear I don't know what's going on when I listen to it, but when I read it, I do understand what's going on. So anyways, I'm gonna sit down and try to read a good chunk of this because I really enjoy it. I love the main character. I want to see what happens, but I just haven't found the time to sit down and read. So that's what I'm gonna do. Tripod and it's quite crooked. Probably not the best idea, but I don't care. I'm gonna add an audiobook to this little mix of can I predict a 5 star? Because the last audiobook I read by this author was Lady Macbeth and I gave it 5 stars because the audiobook was so good. So I'm wondering if I read another one of her books, will it be a 5 star? Was it just because that book had a really good audiobook narrator? Or, you know, I don't know, I thought it would be fun and I need an audiobook to listen to while I go on this road trip. I'm visiting my sister for the weekend. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but I genuinely can't listen to any Pierce Brown books through audio because I lose all comprehension of what's happening. So I'm adding Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed because I have that one physically too in case the audiobook is bad and I decide to read it. And like that's not the only reason I have it physically. It's just because I want to read more of her books in general. But yeah, I'm adding this. I apologize for the lighting. I'm in my car because I'm not going to film video in my sister's apartment. But I got to chapter 6 in Juniper and Thorn, which is crazy because these chapters are 45 minutes, 48 minutes, 58 minutes. What the heck? So firstly, I'm gonna say I'm glad I'm not reading it because of that reason, but it's pretty good so far. Kind of. One thing I have a little issue with is like, it's about this, sorry,
I just got paranoid. Okay, so it's like these 3 daughters and their wizard father, and he's like a very particular about the place they live, if that makes sense. So he hates all the new people coming in and all of the new things coming about. Like, he's very traditional, if that makes sense. And so her being raised under that kind of person, like, she's very sheltered and she doesn't like know that much, and she's very naive, and that specifically is kind of getting to me. But at the same time, like, I understand it because of the premise of the book, and like, because obviously if someone's raised in that kind of situation, they're gonna end up like that. So like, that is slightly irritating me at the moment, but it's like, I think hopefully that the book will resolve that at some point. You know, she ventures out, she has some adventures, hopefully. It's really great so far. I really love Ava Reed's writing. She uses really fantastic metaphors, which is something that I feel like I always notice in books, because I'm like, that is such a good comparison of like a certain mundane task being compared to something so beautiful. Anyways, yeah, it's really good so far. I'm really happy I'm listening to the audiobook, but I probably won't listen to any more until I'm on the way home. That's my update for now.
I'm back home now. I listened to more of Juniper and Thorn on the way back home, and boy do I have things to say about this book. First of all, I'll tell you how far I got into it, because I'm almost done, but I'm not quite finished yet, which is very annoying, but it's whatever. Oh, I genuinely have like 4 chapters left. Honestly, maybe I'll finish this tonight. But anyways, I'm on chapter 12. So, hey, you should not make the same mistake as me, and you should read the description of this book before you start reading it. I love going into books blind, but sometimes it backfires so extremely, and I think that this is one of those cases, and I'm really upset about it, because I think that once I reread this book, I'm really gonna like it, but the first time around, I was not enjoying it so much. So this is kind of like a fairy tale, like a more gothic horror-ish take on a fairy tale retelling. Apparently it's based off of a juniper tree fairy tale, which I've never heard of. They talk about fairy tales in this book a lot, and it's structured very much like a fairy tale, which makes sense. And I'm pretty sure I had come to the conclusion, not that it was a fairy tale retelling, but I was like, it's supposed to resemble a fairy tale before I looked up this book on Goodreads, and it says that it is a fairy tale retelling of the juniper tree. And first of all, read the description. Second of all, read the trigger warnings. There's a lot of really weird stuff in this book. There's a lot of body horror specifically. Like the main character thinks a lot about like harming herself, which I know can be very triggering. So please read the trigger warnings. Actually, that's not even the only thing. Like, I don't want to go into all of it, so please just read the entire list of trigger warnings before you go into this book. So then I feel like, I don't know how I feel about this book. I wasn't loving it. I feel like the problem with some fairy tale retellings is that there's only so many plot points. Like, it's very kind of repetitive and like thinking about the same situation over and over again, if that makes sense. Like, it's just not that much is happening, I think. I don't know. It started to pick up a lot in the past couple chapters, like maybe starting at like chapter 10. So I think that the ending is going to be really good, but... And I think this is gonna sound really stupid when I say it, but I know when you're reading, you're mostly in the main character's head, but I feel like we're almost a little bit too much in our main character's head. I kind of just would love for her to think about something else or get a different POV. So it sounds like I really don't like this book, but I really do. I just wish that I had the context going into the book, which is my fault. I'm literally not blaming anyone for that except for me. I'm gonna finish it, and I think that I'm gonna pick this up again in the future and reread it with the knowledge that I have now. Because Ava Reed's writing is amazing. Like I was mentioning earlier, she speaks in metaphors, and it's crazy. It's amazing. I also think I just love metaphors, because every single time she says one, I'm like, I never would have thought to describe something that way. So I really actually enjoyed that part. I brought this book into this video because under the premise of it maybe being a really good audiobook. And the audiobook is really great, but I wouldn't say it's anything special. I believe I brought this up earlier, but the reason I wanted to listen to this audiobook is because I really like the audiobook of Macbeth by Ava Reed. And I'm so serious that the audiobook of Lady Macbeth is exceptional. And I think it's because the narrator is... She does a Scottish accent. So the way that Lady Macbeth is, I already read that book and I can't shut up about it. So I think maybe I was reaching, being like, maybe this is gonna be a 5-star just because it's my same offer. Whatever. Anyways, I'm actually just gonna sit here and read this and finish it so I can at least have one book done, because I actually have no updates about Morningstar. Have not gotten any further, and I haven't even started Intermezzo. I'm gonna sit here and finish this. Juniper and Thorn, and I really don't know what to rate it. Because to be honest, when I was in the car listening to it and I was still like, oh my gosh, I should have read the description of this book, I should have read trigger warnings, I should have read reviews, like going through that entire thing, I was like, what if this is a 2-star book for me? Which is terrifying because I don't like rating books 2 stars. I love Ava Reed's other book that I read, Lady Macbeth. I literally won't shut up about it. I don't know, because I didn't personally enjoy the story. I don't really like the characters, and I really wouldn't freely recommend it to anybody. But but it's not a bad book. Like, I've made it to page 193 in Morningstar. I really can't say that much about the plot. I really can't. So I will say though, every single one of these books have been jam-packed with information. I guess also just like major plot points. A lot of shit goes down in every single one of these books is what I'm trying to say. And it's amazing and fantastic and I love it. I love the main character of this book so much. And he's also going through a lot of growth, or he just did, and I love when characters do that and they can like even reflect on themselves in like the first book and be like, I was such a fool, and I love that because I'm like, yeah, I was reading that. And at the time I didn't think he was. He didn't think he was either. Isn't that so funny? Besides that though, I really don't feel like there's more I could say, but I'm really enjoying it. I still have a good chunk of it left. Yeah, I think there's like 500 something pages in this, so that's my update. I feel like most of my updates have to be really vague, so unfortunately that's gonna continue, but I have to say some things even if you don't understand what I'm saying. Because hopefully anybody who's read this book knows what I'm saying. There's a girl in this book and she kind of reminds me of Annabeth from Percy Jackson. Is that because she's the only like clever, strong female character I've ever read? Maybe. But like specifically clever, specifically super smart, specifically like always one step ahead of everyone else. So then I like feel like I'm kind of projecting onto her and it makes me like her, but I don't know if I'm supposed to like her. There's some trust to be gained from this character, but I kind of just like her anyways, and I don't know if I should, and it's so risky for me, for the main character. Oh my gosh. The process, the display of the main character going through grief is so interesting from the first book, because in the first book, in the synopsis of the first book, it states that his wife dies. So you should know that if you've read the book. If anyone went into Barnes & Noble and picked this book, the first book in this series up, they would know that. Okay, so I don't think that's a spoiler. But so his wife dies, and the process of him grieving that is so interesting, because in the first book he had her on this like pedestal and he was like, I do everything for her, like I'm changing this world because of her, she is like the drive behind everything, which I loved. But then also like his perspective on that now in this book and how much it's changed, and also how much the world has changed and what her perspective on the world would have been like this, like how it is in this book versus the first book. Crazy, like so good. Oh my gosh, I have something else to say, but I literally forgot. Also, there's like teeny tiny little baby moments of like cute like happiness between him and his like best friend. Oh my gosh, like that actually like makes my heart hurt, because you know, like it's very few and far between because they're going through a lot. But they'll like joke around and say something and like kind of, you know, jab at each other, and it's like they're being normal. Like they're just normal people. I think he's 23 in this. The main character? Like, you shouldn't have to be dealing with this society, but anyways, I'm loving this. So good. I'm gonna try to read like a little bit over 100 pages, maybe like 150-ish, because I need to finish this book. I'm sick of not knowing what happens. I need to know what happens. So I'm gonna sit here and try to binge read. wait till I finish the book. I'm on page 458. The worst thing imaginable just happened in this book. A plot twist so bad, hit me in the face so hard, I don't want to read the book anymore. Because I'm scared. I'm scared. How did we get so far just for this to happen? Genuinely, hey, I want to cry. Hey, I actually am like not DNF it, but like literally just, I'll never pick it up again. Nothing else bad happens. I actually want to cry. This is crazy. This is crazy. Things were going too well. I should have known. I should have known. But for books like these, when things are going so well, you get caught up in the happiness of it all because you haven't seen happiness for most of the book that you forget. This is not a happy book. Something bad's gonna happen. I'm so gullible. Like Pierce Brown, he like led me into a trap of being like, oh, everything's getting better. Psych. Genuinely, there are tears in my eyes. I don't know what to do besides finish the book, but I don't want to finish the book because I'm terrified. I'm actually speechless. Obviously, I'm giving this 5 stars. I would give this 1,000,000 stars if I could, if Goodreads would let me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I also literally don't understand how every single book in this trilogy has left. This has been my reaction at the end of every single one of them. Oh my god. And I was so confused because on this book it says part of the Red Rising trilogy. It keeps saying trilogy everywhere. So there's Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star. I know there's more books after this one. So I was so confused. I thought that this wasn't going to be the end. This was going to be kind of setting up for the next one. What the heck is the next one about? And I refused to read the description of the one after this one because I was like, what if it spoils something for me? And I think it does. I still haven't read it, so I don't know. But I would recommend that to anyone else. If you don't go read the descriptions of all of these before you read them. Honestly, I think I need to gather my thoughts about like my entire opinion about why this book is so good and why the series is so good. And I need to start reading Intermezzo now. I mean, 5,000,000 stars. That's a thought that I can get out now at least. But what the actual, like, what the heck? Oh my god. I literally, I want everybody to enjoy this series so much, but I understand that it's like really hard to get into and it's really hard to follow at some points, at a lot of points. Even sometimes I get a little confused in these books just because they're literally in space and sometimes it's hard to imagine people fighting in space. The logistics of it all, very hard to keep straight. So good, so good. It's the same day, just a little bit later, and I'm about to start Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. And I just wanted to do a little quick, my thoughts before going in. Oh, sorry. When I wear this hoodie, it makes me look like I literally have no hair. I read all of Sally Rooney's books in 2022. I started with Normal People, and I gave it 5 stars. And then I read Conversations with Friends, and I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I gave it 2 stars. So that leads me to my little spiel about this right now, because Beautiful World, Where Are You is her most recent release. And the last one that I read. Obviously, by my rating, 2 stars. I did not like it very much. And so I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous going in this one. I've never read like a Sally Rooney book as a new release. Like as a fan waiting for a new book. I just was able to read all her books at the same time. So I'm like stressed. But like, I don't know. I liked 2 of them, didn't like 1 of them. I feel like the haunts are pretty good. So yeah, I just want to say I'm kind of nervous going into this, but we're about to see what happens. got to chapter 5, so that's page 125 in Intermezzo. Oh my gosh, there was an adjustment period for getting back into Sally Rooney's writing because I think specifically one character she's speaking or she's writing or their thought process is like extra choppy. Because her writing is not choppy, it's just like very direct. But one of them is so direct that I literally was like, what are we talking about? But now that that's all settled, I am really enjoying it so far. It's so funny because I feel like it's really hard to describe the plot of Sally Rooney books because it's literally just these characters living. I'm excited to see what where their life takes us, but there's like, I can't be like, the plot is really interesting. Like, there is no plot, it's just these characters. But that's literally one of the reasons that I love her writing. So anyways, I'm excited to continue it tomorrow. I have the audiobook as well. I actually was listening to this for the most part and like coloring one of those Bobby Goods coloring pages. Oh, I was having so much fun. So yeah, I'm excited to get back into this tomorrow, but I'm going to sleep now. Alright, I listened to a little bit more of the audiobook of Intermezzo and I'm on chapter 8, page 181. It's so good. I don't know why I was nervous. Well, no, I do. Like, I feel like I was nervous for a valid reason, but like, I was just being ridiculous. Sally Rooney, I literally came to a realization, I think it was that today when I was listening to it, her characters are so awkward. And that's, I think, why I relate to them so much, because they're awkward and they overthink literally everything. And the combination of that, we are the same. So, like, I just really love it. And I also love the way that she writes. And so then, like, I'm already coming to her defense. Nobody said anything except for, and normal people, a lot of people are like, there's a miscommunication trope. No, there's not. A miscommunication trope is in a romance book when an author purposely puts something in there to have a third act breakup. Sally Rooney writes people who like miscommunicate in real life. Like, you're telling me you've never spoken to someone and they didn't understand what you were saying and you want to fight about it? Come on. Like, what the? Anyways, sorry, I just had to defend my girl for a second, but like, and I love it so much because she literally writes such real people and she writes about love and like romance, but it's not like a romance book. I mean, I'm having a great time. Also, I mentioned this last night, but I've been coloring on my iPad and listening to the audiobook, and like, I know that's a really common thing. Like, I watch a lot of booktubers and everyone's been talking about doing that recently, and I decided to give it a try, and oh my god, it's so much fun. Like, who would have thought that I would be sitting at my job being like, I can't wait to go home and color. It's so funny, but I'm really having a good time, so I'm not gonna stop. But basically, that's me saying I'm just gonna go and sit and color and listen to my audiobook. Okay, here's my update of Intermezzo. I listened to a lot last night. I really have just been listening to the audiobook. I think the way they formatted the text in this, I really don't like the margins in this book. And that is like the stupidest thing to complain about, but it's so, they're so large. Like, look at this. I'm actually being so ridiculous. Look at this. Like, it's just a single huge block of text. And I'm not gonna be like those girlies saying I didn't read it because it was too much text on the page. But that's why I like listening to it. Or I would suggest maybe getting this on your Kindle so then you can adjust formatting. I hate the margins of this book. Anyways, so I've been listening to it. I'm on chapter 14. I'm still enjoying it. It's really interesting. So I don't remember if I said the premise of this book at all, but it's about two brothers. One of them really likes chess. The other one is a lawyer. We're kind of following both of them pretty separately. Like, their lives don't really intersect except for if they're directly speaking to each other. And so that's been really interesting. It's really quite separated. And like, at first, I don't know if this is gonna sound terrible, but I was like, oh, I like listening to this brother's life better. But it kind of is going back and forth where like where it's like the interest level in each brother is like swinging back and forth, where like I enjoy listening to one of their stories more than the other because to me it's getting more interesting or less interesting. Is that the stupidest thing ever? I don't really know, but I guess that I'm just trying to say that it's never equal interest level. The writing, amazing as always. Like I said, there's not a ton of like plot. Like, I don't think that it follows like a typical book structure because it is really just following their lives. I'm really interested to see how it ends though. Like, I am really rooting for one of the brothers and then one of the girls that he's interested in, but like, it's so difficult because both of the brothers have their issues, but one of them I think is like really struggling. I mean, he knows it too. In his perspective, he's really talking about some hard stuff. So like, I don't know, like, I really hope there's a happy ending, but with the Sally Rooney book, you really don't know. I guess that's my update for now. I'm gonna show you my coloring books though. Okay. So this is the Bobby Goods one that I did. That's it all finished. I thought it was so cute. And then I went on Pinterest and just downloaded like a free coloring page. And it's like Christmas themed. I think this one's also adorable. And I did the spots on the cow myself. Isn't it so cute? So I'm just gonna sit here, color some more, and listen some more. I've set the ratings for any of these books yet. As you may recall though, I was trying to predict some 5-star reads. Actually, no, I think I do remember I have set ratings. Because I've already given Morningstar 5 stars. I said 1,000,000 stars, stand by that statement. Intermezzo, I think, is the only one that I have not rated so far. And I think it's, okay, so I finished it last night and I think I'm gonna be really picky and give it a 4.5, which also me hard launching the fact that I'm gonna start using half-star ratings or like decimal ratings too, because you know, sometimes a 3-star is just too general, or a 4-star. So as for this one, it's a 4.5 because I do think it was maybe a little bit too long. But I also feel stupid saying that because one of the characters, Peter specifically, I feel like he was really dwelling on a lot repeatedly. But at the same time, that's like such a real thing. So is that really why I want to dock it 5.5? I actually don't know what to do. I think, no, I in my heart, it's not a 5. It was really, 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 really good though. I really loved the dynamic of the brothers' relationship and how it went through some rocky situations and how those maybe got resolved. I'm gonna leave that in quotations up for you to read or interpret yourself. I really do think though, because me personally, I don't have a brother, I am not a brother. So if Sally Rooney had written a book about sisters, I actually think I would have died. If that's not obvious enough, I do have a sister. So then I feel like that would really, honestly, should I tell her to write a sister book? Would that be terrible to come out with a book about brothers and then a book about sisters? I'm just being ridiculous. But this book is still really good. If you like Sally Rooney, you're gonna love this book. You know, her writing really doesn't change in a really comforting way. Oh, I did want to highlight that she talks about physical relationships a lot. Like, you know, in a typical romance book, which this is not a typical romance book, people would refer to it as spice. In this book, it is not spice. It's simply just like intimate scenes. Physical relationship scenes. Like, I don't know how to say it, but so I don't know, like, if anyone's very averse to that, maybe don't pick this one up, but I really, really enjoyed it. So honestly, 2 hits. I do feel like I kind of set this video up for success. 2 of my favorite, one of my favorite series, one of my favorite authors. The real wrench in this video was in fact Juniper and Thorn. And I don't blame the book, I blame me for never reading descriptions. It literally kind of tells you, hey, this is maybe gothic and dark and kind of twisted. I should have gone in there knowing that, but I didn't. So this is absolutely going to be a reread. I need to reevaluate my thoughts after knowing that, like, what I know about this. Also, same for Intermezzo. Even though this has a high rating, I'm still gonna reread it because I'm at the age of one of the brothers, Ivan, right now. So I kind of want to reread it when I'm Peter's age. I don't know. I think that would be cool. See how my thoughts change about it. Yeah, so those were the books for today's video. Like I said, some good success. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next week.